Hello, all of my Canadian divas, specifically the residents of Waterloo, Ontario. And welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be answering the question, how would I judge Canada's Drag Race Season 4? And I must say, while this season did end in the year 2024, this is one of 2023's best Drag Race seasons. Oh my god, this season of Drag Race was so amazing. So many different styles and types of drag, and a bunch of just like big personalities, and just fun. It was just fun and eventful, and I love all of these contestants so much, and I'm so excited to go through this season and talk about it in the way that I feel like it needs to be talked about, you know? The rules to remember, as always, are the season has to be as long as Season 4 of Canada's Drag Race originally was, which was 9 episodes, 8 competitive episodes, and the finale. And the performances and the challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how people would predict they would do. So I'm not just going to put somebody in the top when they were originally in the bottom, or vice versa, unless there is strong fan support for that being the case. The goal, as always, is to act as if I am the head judge and craft the season however I can imagine to make it as fun and eventful as possible, while also being fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. Before we go any further though, please like, comment, and subscribe on this video if you wish. Only about 25% of my viewers are currently subscribed, so if you enjoy yourself here and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. I would greatly appreciate it. Anyway, let us get into the video proper with episode 1. In episode 1, we have ourselves the introduction ball, I guess is the best way to put it. There's got to be some good like joke or pun with the word ball and like the premiere situation that works, and it's funny for this. If I think of one, I will put it on screen right now. If I don't, there will be nothing. But starting in this episode, originally the way that they did it, they had their tops, their bottoms, and a bunch of safes, but there was a no elimination. So the 3 contestants that were in the bottom that received negative critiques were just low. And people do this for non-elimination episodes all the time in situations that I don't feel is fitting. The way that they did this here originally is the first and only situation we've seen on Drag Race where I think it is acceptable to put people in a low placement for a non-elimination episode. I've said previously in the past that I don't think it makes sense to do that, because if it's non-elimination by default, then the lowest placement that anyone should be able to get is safe. But considering the fact that they got negative critiques, and that was the whole point of the way that it was set up, I feel like it makes the most sense that they were low originally. But the way that I'm choosing to do this episode, I am doing it as a pretty standard non-elimination episode, where about half of the contestants, just less than half, which is going to be 5 of them, are going to be in the top and get positive critiques, and every other contestant is going to just be safe and not get critiqued. Now, Venus, Denim, and Kiki Ko were in the top originally, and I completely agree with all of them being in the top. They all did an amazing job in this ball challenge, but with the way that I thought it was best to format this, and the way that I do tend to format these, I needed to add 2 more contestants into the top. I obviously wasn't going to add Melinda, Nira, or Cece, who were originally the low placements, and I decided to go with Aurora, Matrix, and the Girlfriend Experience. I also greatly considered Kit and Caboodle, but I did not. I thought Aurora's and the Girlfriends were better, but I think the 2 contestants that really bodied this premiere were Venus and Denim, which they were placed there originally. They were the top 2 of this episode. They did an amazing job in this challenge. I feel like people downplay Venus's looks in this challenge, but first of all, that red look that she had, oh my god. It is truly, like, one of the most, I want to think of a word better than sickening, but it is just luxurious and red and wacky and fashion, and I love it. And while her first look, I understand why people would say that it needed more for them. Well, I get why people would say that, and I also wish it had more going on with it. I still think her first 2 looks were good enough in tandem with her final look, which was my favorite look of the episode, in meaning why that she ends up getting here into the top 2 with Denim, who had pretty great solid looks all the way around here. Denim and Venus are going to be lip syncing to Feel It in My Bones by Tiesto featuring Tegan and Sarah, and Venus wins this lip sync. It's really not a great lip sync song, I feel like. It's just not a song that I feel like really easily translates into a good lip sync. But I feel like looking at their lip syncs, I do think Venus did better than Denim, and so Venus is going to win this challenge as she did originally, and we are going to be moving on to episode 2. In episode 2, we have the QV She challenge, where the contestants have to advertise their products, in a QVC style format, and they only get one take to do it. And I kept all the placements the same. I actually pretty much agreed with all the placements. A lot of people online said that Denim should win the bottom, but I just don't think that's the case. I feel like looking at the group that Denim was in with Cece and with Kiki, I feel like Denim was really the one that the least actively sabotaged the group. Like, Denim wasn't super boisterous or loud in her presentation in the challenge, which I feel like could be a reason why people would say that. But looking at the challenge and looking at Denim's group, I think of, oh my, Cece's doing actively bad, where I'm just like, okay, Denim's there and is doing some things that are fine, some things that are kind of whatever. But in total, giving me really a neutral presence to latch onto in this performance where the chaos is happening around Denim. So that is, I feel like, the reasoning why Denim should be safe in this episode and why I kept Denim safe in this episode. Otherwise, I pretty much agreed with all the placements. I think Kitten did the best. Melinda did the second best along with Kitten in their group. And looking at all the groups outside of them, I do think Venus, with the accent and the presentation and the way that she went about it, I feel like really sold the bit and everything and kind of carried her group. Looking at the bottoms, we have the Girlfriend Experience, Luna Dubois, and CC Superstar. Now, this season, we do have the Golden Beaver twist, where in this episode up through the final 7, the winner of the challenge will get to save one of the bottom 3 from elimination. And considering that nothing really of note has changed at this point, I do think that Kitten would save the Girlfriend Experience here. So that does lead me to believe that Luna Dubois and CC Superstar are going to be up for elimination. And they are going to be lip syncing to I'm With You by Avril Lavigne. And this was a hard one for me to determine who did better, because I feel like Luna, while she was more stationary than CC, which I did not appreciate, I felt like she served it in the face and served the words better to me, whereas I felt that CC embodied it better with her movement. So it really was, do I appreciate the interpretation of the song based off of the movement more or off of the lyricism of it more? And I, in the end, decided to go with Luna Dubois as the winner. I feel like this opinion of picking Luna as the winner could change for me by, just by the day. And this is really the main point that I'm like, I still feel slightly unsure about it right now, about how I've put it. But I decided to keep it as it was originally and just stick with it and say Luna wins a lip sync and Cece goes home. And I'm sorry, Cece, I love your aesthetic. I fucking love this clown jester situation that they did as their promo. I fucking love clowns. I love jesters. I love all of that. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you've definitely heard me say that before. I fucking love clowns. And so I am sad that Miss Cece went. But that is how the cookie crumbles. That is how the superstar sachets away. But we're going to be moving on to episode 3. In episode 3, we had the Girl Groups Challenge, where they had to split up into groups of 5 and do their songs. We had Team Lovebugs and Team The Vixens, and I decided to do this challenge here as in the teams, because I felt like it was pretty clear one team did better than the other, and nobody on the winning team was close to touching the bottom for me. Well, I guess technically one of them did the 4th worst in this challenge, so actually close to touching the bottom, but I don't think that was ever in contention of one of them should potentially be in the bottom. So I decided to judge this as the teams. So Team Lovebugs, who I do feel like definitely did better in this challenge. The top placements, 2 out of 3 of them were people from this team. I feel like they won. And the winner of the challenge is going to be Aurora Matrix. She did win it originally, and I do think she did the best in the challenge. So Aurora is going to win. Denim, Luna Dubois, Near Enough, and Venus are all going to be high in this challenge. And so looking at the bottom group, in order to, do the Golden Beaver and have everything make sense, 2 of them are going to be safe, and then there's going to be 3 bottoms from the group. Originally, Amy Yonsei Chanel was in the top for this challenge, and I do think she did one of the best jobs in her group, so she is going to be safe here, along with Melinda Verga, who was safe originally as well. They were the 2 people from the group that weren't originally in the bottom, and I do agree with that. I do think they did the best, so they are going to be safe. And the bottom 3 of the week are going to be Kiki Ko, The Girlfriend Experience, and Kitten Caboodle. Now, originally, Aurora Matrix did decide to save Kiki Ko, and I don't see why that would be different here. I don't think enough has changed in the season for her to want to save The Girlfriend Experience or Kitten Caboodle over Kiki. So I kept that the same, and so Kitten Caboodle and The Girlfriend Experience are going to be lip-syncing to Tongue by Rev. And I should say, I love this song. The song is so fucking good. After it was used in this episode, I was literally like, oh, okay, so this is going to be my new obsession for a little while, because it is just so sick and just fun and silly. And it's a short song, which I don't really like. I don't like short songs. If your song's not at least 3.5 minutes, go fuck yourself. But I did make an exception for this song, because this song slaps. And Kitten Caboodle bodied it. She did a great job here. And The Girlfriend Experience, she tried her best, but it was truly Kitten Caboodle's stage from moment 1 to the final moment. And so Kitten Caboodle is going to stay here. And sadly, The Girlfriend Experience is going to sashay away, and I really did not expect her to go this early when I was watching the season. I really thought Miss Girlfriend was going to be making it all the way to the end, but sadly that was not the case, and that's just how the experience exits. I'm not going to do this for everybody. I swear. I don't know why I did it again. Okay, I'm moving on to episode 4. Moving on. I gotta get myself away from those. In episode 4, they have to design outfits from, quote-unquote, Brad Goreski's closet, which, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming those ain't his clothes, but, I could be wrong. And I decided to keep these placements the same. Basically, there's one little change here. I say little, but it actually does have big repercussions for at least the next few episodes of the season. But Kiki Ko did originally win this challenge, and I completely agree with that. She did an amazing job. Her outfit was just elegant and sleek, and it really gave off the impression of, like, this wasn't made from another outfit. It looks like an outfit that was made in and of itself. And I feel like that really was kind of one of the sticking points for this challenge, was that creativity and use of the materials in a unique way. And I feel like Kiki really served that with her look. And Denim and King Caboodle were in the top also originally. They did a great job here as well. I did strongly consider moving Luna Dubois up to the top. I ended up not doing it because I felt like there was more changed and more taken with Denim's and Kitten's looks, and like more of the material was repurposed and reformed into these new looks in a different way than was with Luna's. I feel like just looking at the looks, I would rather have Luna's look than I would Kitten's, but I think looking at the brief of the challenge, I feel like Kitten did more with it, and Denim as well, so that's why I decided to keep them the same, but I did strongly consider it. The bottoms are the same as they were originally. I completely agree, with Melinda Verga, Near Enough, and Amy Yonsei Chanel being in the bottom here. And originally, since we have the same winner, Kiki Ko did choose Melinda Verga to be saved. And because not too much has changed, I do imagine that we still have the fight going on between Nira and Amy in this Untucked this episode, which, ooh, would be so fun! But considering all of that, I do think Kiki would save Melinda here. And near enough, and Amy on Sensational would be the bottom two, and they're going to be lip-syncing to Coming On Through, Coming On Through, Coming For You by Priyanka featuring Lemon. And Nira won this lip-sync. I have felt that the instant I saw it, I was like, okay, Nira won. And I was happy for Amy that she was saved, because she'd been doing a good job up to that point, and she still did a great job in the lip-sync, so like I wasn't upset that Amy was saved. But Nira did better. Nira did better. And I think this season gets paced so much better with an elimination here. Because that means we don't have to have a double elimination episode if we don't have a double save. We already had the first episode be an elimination. If you don't want to do a double elimination, that means you have to have an elimination every episode from here on out. And to essentially force a double elimination later, which I don't like watching. I don't like watching double eliminations. It feels sad to watch two contestants leave at the same time when there's reasonings and scenarios where it could not have happened. It just seems like a lot to me. And it really so easily could have just been Amy leaving here and everything could have moved on smoothly. And I feel like that is the fair option, and I think is a better option in terms of the pacing of the season overall. So, sorry to Miss Amy, but I do think this is the correct decision. So Amy Anze Chanel sadly is going to sashay away here, and we're going to be moving on to episode 5. In episode 5, we are going to be having ourselves the lip sync Smackdown Eleganza Extravaganza motion picture production bitch fest. I don't know. Originally this was in episode 6, but considering that this is the episode in which we have 8 contestants, it makes more sense to do this here now, because why would we do it with 7? How would that even be a thing? Since we got rid of Amy, we have to swap this episode and the Snatch Game episode in order for the season to make any sense, so that's what we're gonna do. And also, since we eliminated Amy, that means that this episode does not have to be a double elimination if we don't want it to be. And I don't want it to be, so it's not. Instead of Near Enough being the only contestant that gets to save one of the bottom 4, Aurora Matrix, even though she did not win the challenge, is also going to get the opportunity to save one of them as well. I feel like that is the fairest way to do it. I feel like the fact that Nira and Aurora are technically the top 2 of this episode makes it so that I feel like it is fair and within the parameters of the Golden Beaver in order to say that they both get to save somebody from the bottom 2, and that also gives us, you know, an actual bottom 2 lip sync here. So here we have Luna Dubois, where Amy Anse Chanel was originally. And I don't see any reason why Luna wouldn't just end up in the same position that Amy was in this Lip Sync Smackdown. And for the sake of consistency and not feeling like it makes sense or would be fair to engage in extreme levels of like theory crafting over the lip syncs that could have happened, I'm just going to be putting Luna in Amy's place here because I do think it is a believable scenario that could have occurred. So looking at the Lip Sync Smackdown here, we are going to be starting off with Kid and Caboodle versus Melinda Verga to That Don't Impress Me Much by Shania Twain, and Melinda did win this lip sync originally, and I completely agree with that. She did better here than Kitten, I would say pretty solidly. So Melinda is going to be moving on to the, semifinals, I guess so to say here, whereas Kitten is going to be in the bottom 4. The next lip sync is between Aurora Matrix and Denim to I'm Not Here to Make Friends by Sam Smith, Calvin Harris, and Jessie Reyes. And Aurora Matrix won this lip sync originally, and I completely agree with that. I do think she did a better job here pretty solidly, so she's going to be moving on. The third lip sync was between Amy Anse Chanel and Near Enough. This time it's going to be between Luna Dubois and Near Enough. to Fever Dreamer by S.G. Lewis featuring Charlotte Day Wilson and Channel Trace. Near Enough won the lip sync originally, and I think she would do a better job than Luna Dubois. I don't see a scenario in which Luna Dubois would do better than her here. Luna had a good fucking 2 lip syncs on the season. She did good in both of them. But her against Near Enough, who is kind of like the lip sync assassin of Canada's Drag Race, I just don't see a chance for Luna to win here. So she is going to lose, and Nira is going to be moving on. And the 4th lip sync of the first round is between Kiki Ko and Venus to Uninvited by Alanis Morissette. And I switched up what happened in this lip sync because I think Kiki did better. I do think Venus was helped in a sense by the fact that her outfit that she had on was much more suited to the tone and the vision of the song Uninvited than Kiki's was. But despite that fact, they were so neck and neck for me. They both did an amazing job. And I think the fact that they were so neck and neck, I have to look at the fact that Kiki was immediately in a way disadvantaged due to the outfit that she wore and the presentation that she had not and fitting the tone of the song, but the fact that she was able to overcome that and still serve on the same level as Venus to me, that to me makes me feel like Kiki did a better job overall than Venus did because she had more to overcome with it. So I feel like Kiki did a better job and should win the lip sync, and so Kiki is going to be moving on, and Venus is going to be in the bottom here. Now, looking at the next set of lip syncs, we have Aurora Matrix versus Melinda Verga to Boys Want to Be Here by Peaches. Aurora won this over Melinda. I don't think it's, I don't think it's much of a debate. I feel like it's pretty solid. It's what happened originally, and I completely agree with it. So Aurora is going to move on to the top 2. And the second lip sync of this round is going to, in this scenario, be between Near Enough and Kiki Ko. Lip sync to Pull Up by Keys and Crates featuring Havaya Mighty. And Near Enough, I think, would do a better job here in this lip sync than Kiki Ko. Originally, this was against Venus, and they did pretty similar jobs here, Nira and Venus, but I do think Nira did better. And I don't see a scenario where, in this specific lip sync, Kiki does better than Venus. So Nira is going to win here. And the top 2 of Near Enough and Aurora Matrix are going to be lip syncing to Black Velvet by Alana Miles. And this lip sync was so fucking close. I honestly really considered giving this a double win. Just being like, fuck it, you both win. You did a great job here. But Nira really serves lip syncer to me in the fact that she has a bunch of different levels that she can do. She really can do any genre, style, and knows how to pull back, and knows when to push, and knows the energy and the flow. And I feel like while they were both really similar in terms of the quality of their lip syncs here, I feel like Nira is a better lip syncer. I just feel that. And so I think if we're doing this lip sync Smackdown, I'm going to crown the better lip syncer, and I feel like it's Nira. And looking at the lip sync that they did, I feel like Nira did just a little bit better if we're going to be pedantic about it. So Nira's going to win here. And that moves us on to our bottoms of the week. In this scenario, since Nira and Aurora get to each save somebody, I believe that, first of all, they mentioned that they wanted to save people from their girl groups, so that leads me to believe that Kitten would not be saved in any scenario here. And looking at the relationships post-season and the ones that were formed during the season, it is no surprise if you go on Instagram or Twitter and follow any of these contestants that Venus and Aurora are very close. So I am led to believe that Venus would be saved by Aurora here, and that Nira, out of the fairness, would end up saving Denim, which would leave Luna Dubois in the bottom 2 with Kitten Caboodle. And they're going to have to lip sync to I Will Love Again by Lara Fabian. And Kitten did a fine job in this lip sync originally. It didn't, gag me, her performance, but it was fine. And looking at Luna Dubois' lip syncs, I do think Luna would do better. I really do. I really think she could overcome what Kitten set up here. And I don't think the fact that Kitten has a win at this point makes her almost, in a sense, like immune from being eliminated up to this point. I do feel like we're still early on enough, and Kitten already has a bottom 2 placement under her belt, that it just makes sense, in my opinion, that looking at who this lip sync is between and what the song is, I do feel like Luna deservedly would stay here and Kitten would be eliminated. And I do think this would kind of end up being like the mid-season gag. It would have an episode before it did originally, so we are still, I guess, technically this is the middle episode of the season since there's 9 episodes. So I do feel like this would have more of an impact to the fact that Kitten left in episode 5 here than it would have had, originally with her leaving episode 6 along with Amy and all that. So this is the way I've done it. Oh, and also, I decided overall that the contestants who were at the top of the lip sync bracket would all get, the win top 2 and high placements, and the ones at the bottom would get the low and the bottom 2 and limb placements. Because this episode had a very segmented top 4 and bottom 4, it just feels like the fairest way to go about it. Putting them all as safe would, I feel like, diminish the fact that 2 of them were saved due to the beaver, and that 2 of them did win a lip sync and did move further on into the bracket. So I decided to do it this way. And I just wanted to clear that up and explain why before I move on, but we're going to be moving on to episode 6 now. Episode 6 would be the Snatch Game. Originally, this happened with 9 contestants, but considering the fact that we eliminated Amy, that meant we had to push up the Lip Sync Smackdown, which meant we had to push back the Snatch Game to here at the final 7. Here we do not have Amy Yonsei Chanel or Kitten Caboodle, and not having Amy doesn't really change much due to the fact that she was safe originally, but not having Kitten means that we have one less top contestant than we did originally, so somebody has to move up into the top. Since we don't have Amy, really the only choices were Denim and Nira. I feel like Denim did better than Nira. Denim was like stupid in a fun way. The Julia Fox impression was so dumb and funny, and just was, I wish there was more with the Julia Fox impression on the Snatch Game, but it was adequate enough that I was like, okay, this is good, this is fine. Whereas with Nira's, well, it was an occasion for Coolidge. I wasn't like living for really much of anything going on with the jokes. I just thought the impression was fine, and that was pretty much it. And this Snatch Game was decently underwhelming overall in terms of the performances, but I'm not gonna let that affect the, way that I tend to do final 7 episodes here. So I did think it was fairest to move Denim into the top and keep Venus in the top as well. I saw people saying Venus shouldn't have been in the top originally, and I could potentially understand that in the original final 9 scenario, where I feel like you could swap somebody out for Venus if you'd want, one of the safe contestants. But in this scenario with the final 7, I do feel like, okay, Venus has to be in the top because she definitely would be the 2nd or 3rd best in this challenge. Though not at all comparative to Miss fucking Melinda Verga, who murdered this challenge. I gotta say, oh my goodness, she did an amazing job here. Completely deserves the win. This does mean the bottom 3 is going to be Kiki Ko, Aurora Matrix, and Luna Dubois. And considering that Kiki did previously save Melinda, and I don't see Melinda having a solid enough reason to save Aurora or Luna, I do think that Melinda would save Kiki here. So Kiki is going to be low, and Aurora Matrix and Luna Dubois are going to be in the bottom 2. They're going to be lip-syncing to She's All I Want to Be by Tate McRae, which I loved. I love me some fucking Tate McRae. Oh my goodness, Greedy really was so close to making it into my Spotify top 5 this year. It was in my top, I think it was in my top 10 or maybe top 15. It was getting there, girl. It's a good fucking song. But I do think that Aurora did a better job here. So Aurora is going to stay and Luna is going to leave. And every time I say Aurora, I realize how much I struggle saying her name, and I don't know why. It's not a hard word. It's just Aurora. Aurora, 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 Aurora. See, now that I'm having to say it fast by itself, I'm fine. But trying to say Aurora Matrix, Aurora Matrix, Aurora Matrix. I like the name a lot, but I have so much trouble saying it. I don't know why. This is a stupid tangent. We're moving on to episode 7. In episode 7, we have ourselves the Rusical Challenge, the Brooklyn Heights Rusical, this season, which I think is a very fun concept for a Rusical. Very much a la, the ballet challenge from season 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race. I like doing the life, story of, the judge of the season. I think that's interesting. And this episode, I think, has really the biggest changes of, like, any episode during the season. The eliminated contestant and the winner have both been changed. Originally, Aurora Matrix did win this episode, but I decided to change that and have Near Enough win. She was high originally, but I do think with the content that they were given, I feel like Aurora and Nira did pretty damn well in this challenge. They both had very similar levels of success to me, but looking at the choreo and the performance needed, Nira's I feel like was harder. I really yes, ballet is hard, but there aren't really words you had to memorize at all. And there are some of those moves that she had to do where I'm like, oh my god. Like, if I had to choose, I would choose to do Aurora's part, because it feels like it would be better to do. I feel like it'd be easier to do. And because I think Nira's performance overall is made more impressive, I do think it is more fair for me that Near Enough wins this episode. And Aurora Matrix is going to be high. Now, originally, it was kind of unclear whether, like, Venus was in the top and Melinda was in the bottom, or if they were both safe, but I decided to just put them both as safe, because that's how I've been doing top 6 episodes recently. And I do think they both did better than Kiki and Denim, so they are going to be safe here. And the bottom 2 are going to be Kikiko and Denim. Now, originally, Denim did win this lip sync, and I strongly considered Denim winning this lip sync here as well, but I decided against it, because I do think Kiki did a good enough of a better job here. The lip sync song was 7 Day Fool by Julie Black, and really the song is a song that you kind of have to just move around and vibe for and really fit into the words and show the meaning of the words. It's not a stunt-heavy song, and Denim didn't do a lot of stunts, but she did a few, and that was a few too many. It just was for me. I just was immediately more turned on by Kiki's lip sync here, and in this scenario, Kiki has a much better track record than she did originally, due to the different scenarios that happened, the changing up of the Lip Sync Smackdown being the main one that really gives bigger credence to her track record here. And so I do think that in this scenario, well, I guess in the original scenario as well, Kiki did a better job than Denim, and looking at their track records, they're basically equivalent. So I feel like it's more fair to keep Kiki than Denim here. So Denim originally did make the finale, will not be making the finale in this scenario. And we're going to be moving on to episode 8. In episode 8, we had ourselves the Makeover Challenge. Here we have Kikiko, where she was not originally. And I think Kiki would probably win this challenge. I mean, we saw her on the first design challenge, and she did post a mock-up of a makeover with her sister that I will be putting up on screen right now. And just based off of these intricate, amazing looks that Kiki is able to make, I have no doubt in my mind that Kiki would have made something spectacular and would at the very least be high in this episode, but I think she would win. So she is going to win here and take the place of Denim, and every other placement in this challenge is basically going to be the same. Actually, it isn't. I just realized I lied about that. Because originally Venus was technically high and Aurora was safe or low, I guess. But I decided to switch that. I think Aurora did a better job than Venus. I think Aurora, while I understand the critique about her makeover not feeling like as much of a transformation, so to say, I do feel like when looking at a makeover, you really should just be judging the way that the contestant painted their makeover partner and the outfit that they made for them. It doesn't really matter as much the start to the end. I don't feel like it should matter that much. I feel like you could use this as a tiebreaker if you wanted, if you're really struggling to like decide, but using it as a basis for putting someone like low or in the bottom doesn't feel fair to me. But just looking at the makeovers, I feel like Aurora's is better than Venus's. I feel like Aurora's outfit fits her partner better, and I feel like the makeup is super solid. And so I feel like it just makes most sense to keep Aurora as the high placement and push Venus down to a safe. I don't feel like she should be low. I don't do low placements for final 5 episodes. I feel like safe is the most fair. And Near Enough and Melinda Verga are going to be in the bottom 2 this episode. They're going to be lip syncing to I Didn't Just Come Here to Dance by Carly Rae Jepsen, and Near Enough did better. Near Enough did a better job in this lip sync, I feel like, pretty solidly. I almost in a way wish she didn't, because oh my goodness, Melinda Verga in the finale would be so iconic. She's such an iconic character on this season, I must say. She really serves and gives everything. But sadly, I do think it is most fair that Melinda is eliminated here. And talking about the storylines on this season and how they would change with the way that I judged it, really the kind of main one is Kitten being eliminated slightly earlier and that bringing some of the drama and some of the situations to that. As well as I feel like Luna making it farther and lip syncing more times and that being a bigger point of contention, I feel like would be an interesting thing to look at. And then obviously Denim doesn't make the finale, so we have this kind of furtheration of Kiki Ko and their relationship with Melinda Verga and them saving each other. And in this episode 8 here, without the Golden Beaver, Kiki can't save Melinda, and so this is going to end in a different way where one of them does make the finale, where in the original scenario neither of them made the finale, and it wasn't as satisfying, I feel. So I feel like those are really the main differences to note of these seasons and the ways that they would go here. Moving on to the finale, the contestants have to write their own lyrics and do choreography to their own songs. I mean, technically it's all the same song, but they have to write their own, verses for their, like minute 30 songs, and perform them on the stage. Originally, Denim was here instead of Kiki Ko. I feel like Kiki and Denim would do pretty similar levels of good in this challenge. I feel like everybody did at least a good job, and I feel like Kiki would do a similar level here as Denim did. But I do feel like it wouldn't be enough for Kiki to be in the top 2 of the season. And I did decide to keep this a top 2 because it felt interesting, and I felt like looking at the storylines and the track records and the performances in the finale, I do feel like Aurora and Venus are solidly the top 2 of the season. While I would love to see Kiki win, because I mean, I'm a drag fan. I've known Kiki since before she was on Drag Race. I've seen her on Call Me Mother, and I've followed her on Instagram and stuff. I feel like looking at the way that the season went, there's just no reasonable way for Kiki to win, along with Near Enough. So I do feel like it makes the most sense to just say, hey, it's top 2, and just leave it be as it was originally. And I did literally just watch this finale like a couple of hours ago. It is 1:08 a.m. The night of, Friday night the 12th? Or I guess Friday morning the 12th. You know what I mean. It came out a few hours ago. Looking at this finale, Venus and Aurora Matrix, I do feel like did the best jobs here with their performances. And looking at their PBE scores, they actually do have the best scores, despite the fact that they each only have 1 win in comparison to Nira and Kiki, who both have 2 wins. But they're going to be the top 2 of the season, and they're going to be lip-syncing to Try by Nelly Furtado. And Aurora Matrix feels like the winner of the season to me. She really does. I was rooting for Aurora Matrix immediately when the season started. My initial people that I was rooting for once the season cast was announced and everything were Aurora, Kiki, and Cece. Obviously Cece didn't go very well, but I've really been rooting for Aurora since like day 1. And I feel like she really carried this season on her back. And she has a better track record than Venus. I do think she had a better performance than Venus in the songs and in the lip sync for the crown. Aurora Matrix, good for you, darling. Let's look at the track records. Here are the track records for the season. As you can see, Aurora does have a better track record here than Venus, literally by half of a point, I believe, but I mean, that's the way the Matrix manifests. Oh, I'm coming up with these really quick, honestly. The fact that both of our contestants that were eliminated before the finale both have PBE scores of 3 or above still is pretty crazy. The fact that they're so high. The season really was, I feel like, marked by the switching back and forth between the wins, and the fact that 6 of the contestants in the scenario on this season got wins out of the 11, and originally it was 7 of them. I feel like it really was a season that was anybody's game from the start, and I feel like that's interesting as a viewer to watch, really, to just be on the edge of your seat and be like, oh my god, who is going to fumble and who is going to rise, and it feeling less predictable in an organic way, where Drag Race Canada really, as of the past few seasons, I'm not going to talk about this. Does not apply to season 1 at all. But Drag Race Canada, as of seasons 2, 3, and 4, really does not rig their challenge winners in the slightest. I feel, with like slight variation of, you know, like, oh, I could understand why a person won, but I feel like another person should have won. I feel like they really don't rig their winners much at all. And I feel like that really leads to interesting seasons where shit can happen in an organic way, and you can get to the finale and enjoy the ride. And I am so excited to watch the next season of Canada's Drag Race, whenever that ends up happening. So thank you all again for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Leave your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below. As always, I will leave my Twitter link down below if you want to go follow me on there. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care. Bye-bye.